2022. The first order of business, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
The motion that we approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Do you have any further?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. I have some car appeals that need to be approved. As you can see there on page 1 of 2, yeah, page 1. It's a Honda Accord, 2016 Honda Accord, which we reduced the value for NADA to the NADA value from the state's value. Infinity G35, which was a no change, so that one, the state's value was actually lower than the NADA value, so we did not change it. A Honda Accord, which was changed down drastically in percentage, but the car was in disrepair at the time of purchase. The 2010 Honda Civic was also reduced to market, not that bad, but changed the market value to show that the state's values were high. And the 1998 Lincoln Town Car was a no change. The state's value was much lower than what NADA believed that was.
So is NADA our standard?
Yes, NADA will be used if it's reviewed. NADA book guide, and we take the pages from the NADA guide and the mileage of that.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve the appeal without these changes as noted.
I just want to have a question that would approve the car appeals as presented.
Motion and second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Good morning. Try to make the agenda a little easier to follow along this time. We have some page numbers on there for you, and it's a little strong. Yeah, but this is good. I am going to start with the homestead appeal. We have people that file for their homestead extensions that they were denied. So the first page 3 is going to be the exemption approvals via appeal. We have 3 of them. We approved one from an S1 to an S5, which is a veteran 62 years and older. The next one is a senior 65 years and older. And then the next one, they went from an S1 to an S1, that's 62 years and older. And we got the approval for the appeal. What they basically did is turned in the documentation that was needed to approve their homestead exemption. The next pages, starting on page 4, are homestead exemption appeals that were denied. And they were denied because they didn't even apply for the homestead. We have one that they did not be owner as of January 1. If you see on number 7, you see number 2, the house was not 100% complete to January 1. You have to occupy the home as of January 1. The CO for this particular property was not received until January 28th, when you remember, so that was not approved. Number 9 on the next page, they appealed because they wanted a higher exemption. They have the highest that they qualify for, to the 65 years old, low income. They already have the highest that they can get, so there was nothing else to do with it. And number 14, they applied after April 1st, so they did not get their homes here until 2023. And on page 6, this is just anything of note here. Like number 18, he did not reside in the home as of January 1. And on 20, they already have the basic S1, so there was nothing else to approve on that. Any questions on the denial? Why?
So like number 20, looking at for a different type of exemption versus what they were already currently approved for.
They were asking for the same exemption that they were already approved for. They already have that one.
And all these folks, he's done a letter, telling them what their situation.
They have been sent letters. We still have a few more that we're just kind of waiting for them to get the documentation before we can knock them. Giving them a chance to get everything in. But these were pretty straightforward. They didn't apply, so there's no need to even wait on anything because they don't get it, they don't apply for it. So, they'll be told after today that they'll need to make sure to apply for 2023. They have until April 1st of next year to apply.
I would entertain a motion to approve these homeowners and the homestead exemption candidate.
I make a motion that we approve the exemptions as covered.
Second.
A motion and second for the discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion is continued.
Okay, I'm going to go through 2022 commercial admin changes all the way down to the 2020 admin changes. Now, these admin changes are mostly ownership changes, but there are a few homestead in there also. And these are the people who turned in their documentation to get approved for homestead, but they did not file an appeal because. So they got put in with the admin changes and so these two sections. But going through these next few pages, I'm going to try to highlight a few of them and talk about a few others. Okay? On page 7, the first one is a commercial property where it should have been put on 2 parcels of deed, but it was only put on the 1. So we went through and corrected this for 2021 and for 2022. So the ownership change, no change in value. Okay. On the next page, page 8 is mostly the homestead. Like on number 2, S5, which is, you should know by now, is a vet 62 years and older. Number 4 is a L7, which is a senior 62 to 65. Number 5 is a two-member vet 62 years and older. Number 7 is a vet 65 years and older. And 8 is the senior 62 to 64 years old. In between these two, number 3 and number 2 were misdeeds where you just need to do your ownership correction. Number 3 and number 6. Mm-hmm. All right, on page 9, we have at number 9 is they went from an L9 to an LP, which L9 is 65 to a veteran 65. So they have upgraded their exemption. I think that's all the exemptions on this page. Now, 10 through 12, they're all together. And this is where we removed the sale because there was an incorrect legal that did not match the tax match. And GIS spoke with Austin to get those corrected. So we removed the sale from those and corrected the ownership, And that is for years 2022 and for 2021. And you'll see it on the next page when we get to 2021 also, the next section. The next one, number 13, is, let's see if I can make sure. The sale was removed to the restored ownership based on the approval for the split did not get approved through the planning and zoning. So we had to go back and restore ownership because of the right of way. I think the city of Douglasville came in on this particular one, and we had to get it. We had to remove the sale that was put on there and restore the former ownership until it gets corrected. Okay. 14 and 15 are misdeeds for years 21 and for 22. No change in values on those two. Next page 10, number 16, is an approval for L9, which is senior 65 years and older. The 17 through 20 is a missed multi-parcel sale. And the owner called after the notices went out, and so we had to get that corrected on all four of those to get this, to show that he lived in the owner of these particular parcels. No change in the value was necessary on those four. 21 and 22, see if I can make sure I get that right, I'll explain that one. This is one where there was a sale of a parcel, but it had a less than accept in it. And less than accept is when the legal describes a big parcel. And the less than accept take that part. And it was parcel 6. Was one to ignore parcel 7 for the moment. And it described parcel 1 and parcel 6. And it was less than accept parcel 1. And that was, the less than accept was missed, so Austin had to go back and put it just in parcel 6 now. And restore parcel 1 back to its rightful ownership. And then later on, parcel 7 was put out, there was no issue with that particular title. You want to see that. And on page 11, this is it was 2 parcels that should have been sold, and one of the parcels was missed. So we corrected this particular parcel 08 for 22, 21, and 2020. Thought this was 22. Page 12 is the 2021 of the Liberty Investment from the 2022. And the same on page 13, this is the 2021 version of the we spoke about in 2022 for the Lamb Chase Golf. And William number 5 and number 6 is also for 21 to 22 with ownership changes. And number 7 is the same as the one on page 12, so just the 21 version. Okay. On page 14 is the 2020 version of that one. They put each year on a different page because each year may have a different policy, so just put it up. And that is it for me. Any questions of ownership changes or on the assets and the admin? Okay. And it's on 21 also. We're on page. Okay. Next page, that's done. No problem.
Add value of information to the total of the changes in the values. Summarized as opposed to, yes, by year. Does that add any value to movement?
No. Mostly with more paperwork.
Yeah, it would actually have to be done by hand. Yeah.
Check. I'll entertain most of the group, I'm really pushing the unit on some probably how to get it done.
A motion that we approve the consent agenda, changes in residential properties as noted.
Second.
That motion and second, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and there was one thing that I missed, you can go back to this page. Under real property. I just want to skip that. Okay, the real property parcel number 120-3534, owned by Watkins, in St. Andrews Services. He called in, let's see. Owner is requesting to file an appeal past the deadline due to not receiving an assessment notice. And we did confirm that we did have the wrong city and zip on his notice. We have not found it in our returns yet. But that doesn't mean that, it didn't get returned. It takes a minute for all of you to get back to us. As a matter of fact, we received a return 2021 notice last week. So some of the mail, I guess, getting delayed, so he said he did not receive it. And I do believe him that he didn't receive it, because we did have to roll the city and zip. So we're just asking for approval that he accept his appeal at this time.
Why does he have the wrong to, which it is fault or not?
It was, but actually, I don't know, it might have been put on the PG 61 incorrectly.
Not doing it right. Okay, I'll do it back to the. This, I'm real property that is discussed.
Wow. Motion that we accept the recommendation as submitted for tax year 2020.
Second. But let me have a second. All in favor, say aye. Motion carried.
Okay. Ours will be short, sweet. John, I know what you can say about the concert. I'm gonna be talking about page 15, 16, and 17. And the one on page 15, that one was already valued at $250, which is what we normally value common areas in the county. It's a nominal value, so there's no tax bill. There is a tax bill, it's usually under $5 and it's written off. Some pay, some don't. But that was already valued at $250, so that would be a no change. Page 16. Number 6 is the clubhouse and pool, the tennis court, and Liberty Point subdivision. All of these on this sheet is Liberty Point. And the 7, 8, and 9, and 10, and 11, and 12 is just all common areas that was left over, buffer areas. Some of them had detention ponds, some of them were just open space and whatnot, and those as well would be nice. On page 17, 13 was a detention pond in Ashton Falls subdivision, and 14, they utilized that lot as a little park area with a gazebo, and the residents' mailbox is actually on that lot, which is kind of cute. They don't have mailboxes in their driveways. And then 15 and 16, those as well would be just common areas that we put on regular standard lot values for 22. So I have.
The idea what these tenants are.
Yes, roughly. Well, you'll see the top number on each page. For instance, line 6 is 45,000, 7 is 45, and so forth. You'll see that was the value that was placed on the parcel in the beginning of the assessment notice. And, you know, when we did some of these lots for this year, we would redo the whole neighborhood, and the whole neighborhood does have exceptions, and maybe the exceptions were not redone and put on a common lot value where they should have, instead of the regular standard ones. So that's what happens sometimes. We don't go back through the exceptions just because it time straits. So you will see that the top number represents the standard lots, and then it was reduced to 250.
I'm just curious, like, bottom line.
Yeah. I don't have total.
No, we do not have a total, we'll have to do it by hand.
Okay. Is that something that you guys would like to see in the future, or?
It gives us an idea of the impact.
Okay, so that's.
Let them do the math in my head, so I can repeat that.
Yeah.
Times 12, 50 times 12.
Yeah.
It's probably about 200,000.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, I entertain a motion to accept the value of notice on the common areas and lot adjustment.
I can make a motion that we approve the invested and notifications with the bidders at this point.
The motion accept the discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion. Thank you. Okay.
Morning.
I've got some commercial hearing officer tools.
see on page 18, we had 5 that were changed. And the reason for the change, the first one, made an adjustment due to the market area rent. So you can see that, original BOA value was $2,550,500, and that adjusted to $1,342,301. The second one, original value of $6,978,300. I changed you had the incorrect square footage on the income, so I made an adjustment to that. And it paid value $5,526,900. Number 3 was $43,268,700. I made another adjustment to the income dollar per square foot. And that ends up being 40 million even. It's also their request is that so we're in line with that. So number 4 is $80,134,800. Another square footage change on that, the income footage, and that ended up adjusting the value to $7,881,000 even. And number 5, $1,320,000 even. Made an adjustment to the American market area rent and put it to $1,192,300. Those are all my checking.
Would you require on-site visits or some of the visits can be done?
I reviewed all. I'll file it. If they haven't been reviewed in the last 2 years, because
And you know, we had a revamp, Tyler doing the revamp, and looked at it all up.
We paid it 19 and 23, is that more information?
yes, these are all no changes. 19 to 23. There should be 34 of those.
Entertain a motion to approve this commercial property being designated.
Make a motion that we approve the commercial property changes system.
Second.
Have a motion second, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. We asked for that brief. I thought you had everything else.
So gonna find out how it's calculated, I'm sure Martin's the one office.
Sorry, good morning. Just, one thing to present for the governance this morning. At the last meeting, we had a property owner that requested to come out of the covenant. And so the board agreed to, breach and let him come out. So all I'm presenting today is the penalty estimate. And I say estimate because the actual tax bill does come from the tax commissioner's office, but based on his savings. And on this form, you can see how this is calculated. I'm not sure if all of you had actually seen this, so I thought this was a good idea. And so what it's given is just the estimate due of $13,660.04. So, that was all he was presenting.
It's a $24.99, is that what's his savings or? Look at 2019, $24.99 times 2 is $49.98. Was that his tax savings? That was.
The savings is the third column over. You take that fair market land value and then what his covenant value, and the difference is the savings in that third column. And then it's taxed at 40% times each millage rate. And so that's the taxes due, and then you double it.
Okay.
The $24.99 is the taxes due. And then double that because when you breach it was twice the savings.
So he takes a savings and you basically double, until you double the savings.
Right, unless there's a few stipulations in the law. If they're in their second covenant, they're at a certain age and they kept it in there, you know, then sometimes it can be one time the penalties. But most of the time, for most people, it's twice the penalty.
Well, thank you.
That was it.
Thank you for the information.
He's a great.
He has not agreed to it, I will submit it to y'all first, and, well, I mean, he requested it, so he knows, you know, that it's gonna be special, yeah.
So I need a motion from us to approve this.
Just for the record, yeah.
I would entertain a motion to approve this proposal for the bridge of note.
I can make a motion that we're including the total purchase amount, plus the information as we advise now. And then I said,
Motion second, all in favor, say aye. One, what's the,
this is just an estimate.
Just the next time. Right.
all in favor, say aye.
I,
Motion passed.
Thank you. I can't move it forward, it's probably on the wall.
Do you have any answer to the business?
No, we don't have anything.
The regular meeting normally, we don't like, for big subject.
I don't know. Yes, if you have to bring some of that.
Yes, yes.
You have to-
We'll have some more.
Yes. We used to use the fall equinox, because I like this.
like a tickle not skiing.
I'm good about it. So September the 21st on this, 9 o'clock. Thank you. Are we ready to adjourn? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you. You can take us off the line, if you'd like.
Each line.
Yes, one moment.
Ready to get the minutes signed. Minutes.